Hey, how y'all doing this evening? This evening I've got a really special show for y'all here on Southern Coastal Cooking. Something that rings true to my heart, my passion about, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Louisiana Gulf Coast, and our fresh, wonderful seafood that we've had here for centuries, y'all. I'll go ahead and tell you, our coast and our marshes and all that sort of stuff, and our reefs are eroding every day. We've got to protect all that and do everything we can to provide future generations with this wonderful seafood and stuff that we have here and we're blessed with on the Mississippi and Louisiana Gulf Coast. I heard about a company that got started with a Kickstarter program that really struck close to home for me. It's called the Oyster Bed. Oyster Bed Company, theoysterbed.com, and what they've come up with is they've actually come up with a serving and cooking tray for oysters. And the reason they've done this, they got started, it was two brothers, Tommy and Adam. And what they did, they learned that the oyster shells, when we serve them in our oyster houses and stuff like that, that they're throwing away a lot of those oysters that can be put back into beds to preserve the oyster beds, preserve the reefs and stuff like that. They learned that a lot of these oyster houses, commercial places, were throwing the oyster shells away. They were going to waste. They weren't being recycled. So they came up with a service tray and cooking tray through the help of a friend of theirs that did pottery. A beautiful piece. And let me go ahead and show it to you right here. This is their large tray here, and it comes in this beautiful little burlap bag here, and it's got, cultivating, creative cooking. It's got the oyster bed. It's got their website on here. Anyway, what you have here is you have this beautiful tray, and it's got all these little slots for the oysters in here. This is where you'll cook the oysters and serve the oysters. So a lot of design has gone into this tray. It's not just, like I said, a piece of metal with no thoughts going. What they've actually done here is they've made a slight gradient on the tray to where the oysters will cook and the butter or the juice or whatever that you have them cooking in, and then as they cook, some of that juice will flow out from where the oysters are in these little pockets here and down into the reservoir, the large reservoir. And this is wonderful for dipping and stuff like that, but it makes it where the oyster is not sitting there boiling in its own juice, to where it actually cooks in some of the juice, and some of the liquor and all the wonderful juices from the oyster actually drain out little bit by little bit and go down to this nice reservoir for dipping and stuff like that. But the oyster, it makes the oysters be cooked perfectly. Like I said, this is a large tray. They have a small tray that's half this size for 6 oysters. I'm going to be using a large tonight. I have a 22-inch Weber kettle. It's perfect for cooking with the large tray. But anyway, we're going to get started here, and I really want y'all to really go in and look at their website and see what these guys have done. I mean, this is just a beautiful work of art here. And it serves a great purpose, not only in cooking, but in serving the oysters and in preserving our environment here in the southern states, and in preserving our southern coastal cooking. I mean, just to the root of everything that I love to represent down here. So anyway, I'm going to get started. I'm just going to do some char-grilled oysters tonight. I will be doing some more recipes on these oyster beds, hopefully here very soon. I want to try to work with some oyster purveyors. I've got some oysters locally here. I got some in Long Beach, or actually in Path Christian this morning, from Crystal Seas, and they're very good. But I'm going to try to work with some companies that ship oysters wherever you are in the United States, to where you can have some wonderfully shucked oysters sent straight to your door from Louisiana and South Mississippi, that you can enjoy too on these oyster beds. So let me go ahead and get started, y'all. To make these wonderful char-grilled oysters, I'm going to go ahead and get started here and show y'all what we do to make the sauce here. I mean, these are going to be so good. Basically, I've got me a pot here, and we're going to add some butter. Got about 2 sticks of butter here. Put that down there. Go ahead and let it get started melting. Now, that's very important. Like I said, you want to make sure you get some good butter. I like to use salted butter. Also, going to add a little bit of lemon juice to that. Not too much. You want to add some Worcestershire. It gives it some wonderful flavor. This is about a tablespoon of Worcestershire. You can get that started. I've got some garlic. Oh, some minced garlic, about 1.5 tablespoons or so of minced garlic. Good stuff, y'all. Really good stuff. Then I also want to add some hot sauce, whatever your favorite hot sauce is. I like this Frog Bone hot sauce, pretty good right here. So go ahead and add a little bit of that, maybe a teaspoon or so, a little bit more maybe. And a good little Cajun seasoning. Of course, you know, all I use just about is this BZL's here. Wonderful. So much more flavor than just salt and garlicky, not too spicy. There's some wonderful stuff here. So I'm going to use about a teaspoon of it too. So I'm going to go ahead and get this melted. Get this just, you know, just all simmered around here. Just melt all this right here in the pot. And that's what we're going to use to season these oysters. So I also want to add just a little bit of basil, or Italian seasoning type stuff. Just a little bit in there. Just, man, that's going to give some wonderful flavor. And that's about done. I mean, you don't want to overcook your sauce here. Just basically let the butter melt and let everything kind of simmer together. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this aside over here, and we'll put the wonderful oyster bed on here. Look at this thing, man. This is just beautiful. There we go, just like that. They say to use some non-stick spray would help. So I'm a little bit of Pam on here. Just whatever, just keep the oysters from sticking or anything. I'm gonna put the lid on, let this heat up just for a couple minutes, and then we'll come right back and y'all will be ready for the oysters. It's gonna be wonderful. We've had a chance to heat up for a few minutes. Oh yeah, beautiful. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting some of these oysters on here. Let me show you my oysters again. These are Crystal Seas. These are shucked right here, local in Pass Christian, wild caught oysters. I mean, just beautiful, y'all. And I've done some videos before. I don't know if y'all seen them on the Crystal Seas oysters, to where I've gone in and showed you how they were shucked and everything. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe some of this excess oil out of here, and it's kind of looks like it's kind of burnt there. I don't want that. It'll be no good. Kind of wipe that out of there. I don't need oil over there for sure in this channel. So anyway, you got your excess out. Let's go ahead. I mean, all these oysters will be wonderful, y'all. It's liqueur. I mean, just look at this fresh shucked oysters. And you know, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go ahead and just put some right down there, and it's nice and hot. I'm going to go ahead and come back with my wonderful sauce here. Just pour that in these molds just like that, y'all. And let these oysters just cook in this beautiful this butter sauce here. It won't take them long. Yeah, oh, that's going to be so good. Put this lid back on here, let it cook just for a minute, and y'all, they'll be done. Also, y'all, what we want to do is put the Parmesan cheese on these bad boys. It's going to be real good. Give them some extra flavor, just some fresh grated Parmesan. And these are almost done. Look at that. See how all that juice and everything's rendering? Oh yeah, see, they're starting to ruffle. You'll see that. I'm going to go ahead and get my glove. We can get these off of here. Because, I mean, you know, you don't want to overcook your oysters. But, I mean, they just cook a lot quicker doing it this way. And they're just wonderful oysters. Let me go ahead and put this on here just for a second. And grab a glove and we'll take these off. So this wonderful wood plank here, you know, to use as a serving dish. Oh, yes, sir. And look, we'll set the oysters right there, just sizzling right on that, y'all. It's wonderful. That's beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and give me my little forks. Look at this, y'all. I mean, these are just gorgeous oysters. With that cheese melted on there, that's perfect. We can get a little picture of these. Look at that. That's beautiful. Yum. So, we got our little fork here. They also sell this little fork. I mean, just perfect little service device. I'm going to give it a taste, y'all. Wonderful, fresh Mississippi oysters. Oh my gosh, y'all. That's just heavenly. Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Y'all have got to try this. And one thing you don't have to do that I did, you don't have to preheat this thing. I probably should have put cold oysters in there on a cold plate. Anyway, look at this. Get some of this good juice right here into my reservoir. Look at that, y'all. Oh, you can't beat that. Wonderful oysters. Yum. Look, y'all, go ahead and order you one of these oyster beds so you can cook you some good oysters too. And you don't have to have them in a shell. Put them right on there. Help preserve the environment, man, for hundreds and hundreds of years for future generations. I'm gonna do a lot more recipes than this. And you don't have to only just cook oysters in these. You can cook shrimp and crab cakes, all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna be doing some experimenting with these oyster beds. But y'all, I'm telling you what, I'm an old Mississippi, South Mississippi boy. And I'll tell you, these are amazing. And they cooked up so fast, man. This is only cook a couple minutes, man. You could really turn these out for a party in this oyster bed. I tell y'all what, those oysters were delicious. I mean it. I mean, I can't get over too how quickly it cooked the oysters and cooked them to perfection. I know I've grilled a lot of oysters on the half shell. You see me do that in my other videos, and it takes quite some time. Man, if you had a party or something, you were really trying to put out some oysters, this is definitely the way to do it. Restaurants, I mean, awesome. I mean, this boom, 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 you can get them out there. You know, and another thing, with all that juice in there, I'm sure you can use your same juice cooking many batches of oysters. Whereas when you use the shells, you know, that juice is sacrificed to each oyster. So with this, you could probably, you know, keep recycling that juice, your marinade. That's if, you know, if you're cooking for, you know, at home. Of course, you can't do that in the restaurant. But, you know, you could do several batches just like that. And I tell you what, it turned out amazing. And, you know, whether or not you preheat it like I did tonight or you don't, I think it worked just fine. But, y'all, I was really, really surprised. You know, I've eaten oysters grilled on a half shell all my life to see how good they were cooked that they're on the oyster bed. So, like I said, hopefully many more videos to come cooking these oysters on the oyster bed, y'all.